bringing you the best Eagles basketball coverage. This is Creature Report.
Well, sometimes it's best not to trust your gut and use your brain instead. We were all wrong on the gut gamble.
What else is new?
Yeah, I mean, this is the good kind of wrong.
Yep.
Kind of at a loss for words right now. This is Elliott, by the way, and
Russell Kelly.
So we won.
We won. FGCU men's basketball, 74-61 over the USC Trojans. Obviously, if you listen to our gut gamble, and if you were anyone who's not on the team, you were probably a little bit skeptical that mid-major is going to go all the way across the country, 3-hour time zone difference, and upset a Power 5 school. I mean, you and I before the game, you speak for yourself, obviously, but we were saying it'd be nice to lose by 15 or less, right? Just trying to be realistic about the whole thing. And then, I mean, what are your thoughts on that, I guess?
That was what we were talked about. But then, come the end of the first half, I was like, that's a win in itself. Yeah. I'd be satisfied with the way we played this first half. And if we lose, we lose. But, I mean, the second half only got better.
Yeah, it did. So obviously, starting the game pretty damn cold. No shots are falling.
Both teams, sort of.
Yeah. Then USC started to, be who they are, where they're trying to be at least. Scored some points. Got out to an early lead. Then FGCU, chipped away. Goes into the half down by one. Definitely a dub, as we would say, a little bit too much. And second half starts, and you kind of think, we've been in a lot of these games against Power 5 schools over the years where we're in the game, right, for the first half, and then all of a sudden the second half it gets real. So it's kind of, you're like, okay, when's it going to get real? And speaking of real, reality was that we started looking just as good as them. Not like a team that was playing better than them, but just as good as those guys on the other team. I mean, those are kind of my thoughts about the overall way we look tonight.
Yeah, I think it all started really with the defense. That's what I first noticed. Even when we weren't scoring on offense, we were just playing great defense and making it a struggle for USC to get any kind of momentum going. And I think they just carried that momentum into the second half. And, both teams didn't have super high percentage shots in the first half, but I think we had to be shooting at least 45 to 50% in the second half to, end the game overall in the 40s.
Yeah, overall we finished 39% from the field.
Oh, sorry, 37.5.
Yeah, overall it was 39% from the field. USC was 40. Here's the big change, though. We got hit 8 3-pointers, shot 31% from beyond the arc. They had only 3 3-pointers, 16% from beyond the arc.
How about the rebounds and the turnovers?
Yeah, I mean, that's good to see. We haven't always had the advantage there, especially when you go into play a Power 5 school.
To out-rebound them by 11.
Who's chock full of 7-footers. And us, big boy Sam Onu looked like he's a little bit dealing with something on his lower body. Had what looked like a little bit of a leg wrap on. Played just a couple minutes, try to get his feet wet, I assume. Andre Weir and Dakota Rivers, for the most part, playing the 5. The whole game. So 6'9", 6'10", big bodies for ASUN play for sure. But it seemed like USC, they had several guys 6'9", 6'10", 7 feet. So it's cool to see the rebound advantage on there. And as you know, we've always had good rebounding guards.
Did not notice this. Zach Anderson had 10 rebounds.
That's a good number.
That's the most.
Yeah.
On the team. Which I thought easily would have been Weir or I guess Bishop because he had 7.
I think we had a lot of guys. Let's go over some specific player standouts today. Obviously, leading the team was Chase Johnston. He looked really good, especially when he really found a groove from 3. Chase Johnston just 20 points he finished with, couple rebounds, couple assists. Just looked like the player we signed up for, I think early on in the game he missed his first couple threes, and my just gut comment was just like, if he was still on Stetson, he'd have hit those shots. Because
Right.
over the years, it just feels like we get guys who are 3-point specialists, and they come here and they don't hit threes. But sure enough, he really found his groove, and it looked like the guy that you sign up for, the guy that did so well at Stetson last year. After him, Isaiah Thompson, he had a kind of rocky beginning of the game, and he really, really turned it on. Another guy who, exactly why we brought him in, is that experience, that veteran, mentality, and the free throw shooting at the end of the game for him really helped the team.
Did we talk about Andre Weir at all?
Not yet.
Because that man seemed to struggle at first, but then really started to find his groove in the late first half and into the second half.
That three, though.
Yeah. He's wide open. He's just going to take it, and he drained it and shocked both me and you. But into the game with 8 points, 6 boards. Dakota Rivers, very similar game, 7 points, 4 boards. Brought a lot of defense, some big block shots down the stretch.
I was impressed, just to pause on Rivers for a minute. Rivers is a guy polarizing guy, right? Because fans love him. He's got so much skill, but he hasn't always played the most. We've established that plenty. But this game, he made some decisions, I thought, in the game that in the past felt like he would have made different decisions, like passing up a shot for a better shot for a teammate.
The charge,
I think, was excellent. Dakota, being such a good shot blocker, he's always just so eager to go, swat a fool, right? And we love seeing it. But there was a instance, I think it was the first half, if not the very early second half, where he looked like he was going to go swat a guy, and instead he just stood in there strong and took the charge, and it was an offensive foul. Those kind of moves that now that he's a senior, you can see where he's learned kind of how to just play a little bit smarter, I guess you could say. But I don't even want to say just more veteran, more seasoned. And I was really impressed with his game today.
Someone that's not highlighted in the box score either that we did not see was Austin Ritchie. We did see him, but right?
Austin Ritchie and Cato played a lot, but didn't show up in the point total at least. But both of those guys, and like we said, Sam Onu earlier, they'll have their games. They'll get their feet wet a bit. They'll find their groove. The thing about this, they kept saying it on the broadcast too, is we have more than 5 starters on this FGCU team. Like, obviously we're playing a tough Power 5 opponent, but like we got a lot of guys who could start a lot of games. And it's going to depend. It's going to be different guys every night who get hot. And I'm excited to see how it unfolds for sure.
For sure. I mean, so to come in and not only beat a Power 5 school, but lead by 20 at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of blew my expectations, but we talked about this. We didn't really have expectations. Like, what were the expectations?
Right. There's so many unknowns.
Your gut, for lack of a better term, was like, we're losing. But like mentally, what were the expectations?
Right. So many unknowns on this team. It's like we have this good incoming class of experience, right? Demir Bishop from a bigger school looks like a real athletic dude. Isaiah Thompson coming from Purdue, a really good team last year, started like 20 games last year. But it's like Sam Onu, big body from Memphis, a bunch of guys like that. But at the same time, we've never seen them in an FGCU uniform, for one. 2, they haven't necessarily had like this tremendous amount of success at their former school. So it's like, okay, on paper, we should have this really good team, but we haven't seen it. So I think this is just, again, only one game. You shouldn't get too high or too low about really anything, but it's pretty hard to not get too high about an opening, like a season opening victory over in a game like this. Just kind of confirming, validating some of the things you were hoping to be true, seeming like, what they are. And I almost think, we brought up Richie and Cato not scoring. That's almost encouraging.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of what I meant by that.
Yeah, they didn't. These are guys who we know can drop 20. We know they can. We've seen it. And if they're not doing that, if they're scoring 0 points apiece, and we're winning by double digits against a Power 5 team, that's encouraging.
Well, they did show the one graphic, the bench points,
mm-hmm.
and we were up like 17 to their 5 or something like that. And that's exactly what we're saying is we have so many tools on the bench.
Yep.
That we're just now starting to explore.
Yep.
Because
and if we can just have a good non-con, right? Get guys minutes, figure out, who plays good together, who deserves more time, who needs some more time to kind of develop some things, whatever. By the time we get to ASUN play, it should be fun to watch. It's already very fun to watch. This was a really fun game.
Your player of the game / who you were impressed by the most?
I would have to say Chase Johnston. I know that's cheap simply because he led the team, but I just go back to what I had said before. It's we've gotten a lot of players who've had success elsewhere, and they come here and they look fine. They look good, but it's not all that you want it to be, I guess. Johnston coming here with at least a couple years of eligibility, having already scored, 14 points a game or something like that at Stetson, and then he drops 20 in his first night, again, not against D2 school or something, but against a Power 5 school, a high major. That's just encouraging, and I'm just impressed that he's not just a shooter. He's a guy who can take the ball up the court. He's kind of quick on defense. He's got really quick feet. He's also smooth, like driving to the basket. He's not one-dimensional at all, and he looks really good out there. I'm very impressed.
I think mine would have to be Zach Anderson.
Always a good choice.
Just the intensity he had on defense and the rebounds alone. He has 5 fouls that showed he was kind of playing with some intensity and aggressiveness, and I like that. And it's something I feel like he started to show at the end of last season, remember, with that poster. And it's just, I feel like he's blossoming into that aggressive player that he needs to be.
He's always had it on defense, right? And I think any bit of confidence he gets, it just looks better and better. If he can, like with the way he plays defense in ways that don't show up in the box score, if he were to average like 6 and 5, it would probably mean 6 points, 5 rebounds, to be clear. It would probably mean that he's having a really good season, and you just don't even see it all the time, because that would come with steals and, blocks and just low opponent field goal percentage, stuff like that, the analytics. But yeah, overall, how can you not be happy with this?
That's all I got. I don't really have any negatives other than the weird jerseys.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they'll figure that out. Weir is number 3 on the roster, and he was playing with number 42 with no name on the back. Of course, the name doesn't really mean anything because everyone else's last name was Azul. It's a good bloodline we got. Everyone's from the same bird. But yeah, as far as the men's game goes, that's what we just watched. We're excited about that. That's awesome. I do want to mention the ladies, 20-ish point victory over Old Dominion at home. TK Morehouse doing her thing again. It's going to be a really fun year watching her. She would do just as well as someone like Kirsten Bell the last couple of years, but Bell's a big star. Now it's her team. There's plenty of other good players in that team. Emilis is still there. There's plenty of other good players that came on this offseason, but it's going to be really fun to watch her this season. She scored her 1,000th point. I also saw. So congrats to her, and it's going to be a fun season.
Yep, good start for both teams. I'm excited to play San Diego next, see what we got.
Hell yeah.
Till next time.
Peace, guys.
Go Eagles.